happening around you. Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast, weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3, and streaming on MyMyTV.com.
This is My Michigan TV, a unique news streaming television network. To watch, simply add our app to your smartphone or smart TV. You can also watch online at MyMyTV.com. My Michigan TV, my.
Events, businesses, and people. Anything and anyone causing a ripple in the community. And now, let's dive in to the Splash Live.
Good morning and welcome to the Splash. Awful good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott, host of the Splash. Excellent to be with you on this Friday. Seems like a Friday, huh? On this Monday morning, and a little rainy, a little cloudy. We're back to work. We'll get through everything that is big news here in West Bloomfield and the greater West Bloomfield area this morning, right here on the Splash. Of course, you can watch the Splash across all of our amazing outlets, and we are here for you each and every Monday through Friday with 90 minutes of live television every Monday through Friday. It starts out with the Splash Live, and then it segues over with Tyler Kieft at 10 o'clock to the Megacast. Again, 90 minutes of live programming each and every day. Places to watch: Civic Center TV, of course, channel 15, channel 99 on AT&T, civiccentertv.com, another great place to go as well. We also invite you to tune in to our program on Facebook. We're live there on our Facebook channel, and a lot of times we'll have a guest maybe also be on their Facebook channel as well. YouTube is a great place to catch it, and if you're driving around the greater West Bloomfield area, you can always tune in to what I like to call the Big 89, WBLD Radio, 89.3 Lakes FM, been around since 1974 here in West Bloomfield, and a good way to just tune in and listen all across the community. I'm Dave Scott. Good to have you here on the Splash. Can we take a quick break, guys? Is that possible? Is that possible for us to do? Good. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment and get to a very busy show, including Debbie Binder, the Township Clerk of West Bloomfield, as we get ready for Election Day. We'll be back in a moment. Good morning. You're watching the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Let's whoop it up for these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Monday morning here in the Splash Live, Dave Scott. Let's take a look at our weather around the greater West Bloomfield area. And we have a very different day today. We've had really nice weather, pretty warm, fantastic over the weekend, but it cools off a little bit. And that cloud doesn't show the raindrops coming out of it, but it is going to rain a little bit today. In fact, raining right now here at our studios. High today only 54, getting down to 38 tonight. Tomorrow, 60 is our high, 43. And when we get all the way towards the weekend, we're finally going to see a nice warm up. The clouds will be with us for a couple of days, but it will be improving. And actually, another surprisingly nice, mild, and week full of lots of sunshine here in West Bloomfield. So first of all, I don't have the decorations here around the screen, but or in my apparel today, but happy Halloween. It's the 31st of October, and that means Halloween. Lots of fun for all the trick-or-treaters tonight as they head out around our greater West Bloomfield area. You know, one of the things, before I get to my notes on Halloween, that's really cool that they fixed is they used to shift daylight savings time back the weekend before Halloween, and then it would be dark at night when all the trick-or-treaters were out. They've pushed that back a week. We're gonna do the daylight savings time this weekend. So for tonight, Halloween night, hopefully have a little bit of sunlight as the trick-or-treaters go out. A lot of communities, a lot of neighborhoods, they get out pretty early, start around 5 o'clock. Some neighborhoods even a little bit earlier. So as you go out with kids tonight, be sure to just follow a couple of safety tips. Walk very slowly and safely. Cross the street at corners. Now, kids aren't going to want to do that because they're going to see something exciting going on across the street. Good reason, mom and dad, for you to come along with your kids. Here's a big one in our current environment today. Put the electronic devices away. Okay, just put them away. I was taking my Sunday walk yesterday, and there was a guy walking down the sidewalk with his phone, and he had his phone right there in his face, and he couldn't even wave and say hello. And I was worried he was going to trip. And I am familiar with some people very close to our show here that have actually got into an accident, have bumped into somebody or tripped or fallen down an escalator at the airport or something. Don't walk and text. It seems like a silly thing to say, but especially tonight, put that electronic device out. Teach children to make eye contact with drivers. That's a really good idea. So before your kids cross the street, we were always taught, look left, look right, look both ways. But why not take a look inside the car and see what that driver is looking at? A great idea. Keep an eye out for cars that are turning around and backing up and doing, coming in and out of the driveway. And if your kids are under 12, take them trick-or-treating yourself. Costumes, decorate costumes and bags with reflective tape. I see a lot of people doing that, and much better. Face paint, costumes that would impede people's vision, your kids' vision. Be careful with that. And then if you're going to be out driving around, just go super slow. Don't go ripping through any of the neighborhoods when there are kids out there. It seems so obvious. I'm sure the West Bloomfield Police and the Kego and the Sylvan and Orchard Lake Police will be out, certainly keeping an eye on our neighborhoods tonight. But, if you're driving around, just remember these kids are so excited. They may have all the best habits and intentions, but do please be careful. Let's make it a safe and happy Halloween. And I know candy prices are going way up, but those packaged candies make so much more sense. It's not a good time in our current environment to be, maybe making some, Rice Krispie cakes or something and wrapping them up in tin foil. I know economically we'd rather do that, and we should be able to do that, but right now that is really not a good idea. So with the beautiful weather over the weekend, a lot of my friends called up and said, hey, Dave, come on over. We sure could use a little help raking the leaves. They know I live in an apartment and I don't get to rake leaves. So we did get out. It was a great weekend for raking leaves. But like with everything else, it's not quite as simple as it seems, because raking leaves isn't just about keeping your yard pretty and green and leaf free. It's also an essential maintenance item for the health of your yard. A thick layer of leaves can smother grass and block airflow and sunlight. It also can form a barrier that prevents water and nutrients from getting into the root system of grass. So, we always think, well, if we don't get the leaves off the yard, the yard in the spring isn't going to be really nice. And that's pretty good. It's a general rule that you shouldn't let leaves sit on grass for more than 3 to 4 days. Now, I read that. That's like some leaf expert wrote that. That might be a little bit too crazy. But here's the thing that you should know. It's really not much fun getting out and moving leaves when they're soaking wet. So over the weekend would have been a really good time to get the leaves. Now, I like to wait until they're all down off the tree, so I don't have to do it 2 or 3 times. You may have your own approach at your house, but do them when they're dry. A lot better, a lot easier, and that's kind of obvious. So a couple of notes here on the equipment that you'll use to get rid of the leaves in your front and backyard in West Bloomfield. Obviously, the rake. That's the way we did it when we were kids. Good enough for us when we were kids. Good enough for your kids. But you want to get the right rake. And the experts say don't skimp on your rake. For instance, do not get a rake with a narrow spread. It gathers fewer leaves and takes you much longer to complete the raking. Instead, get a wider spread with a fan of at least 30 inches. So when you go to like Ace Hardware on Walnut Lake Road today, or wherever you're going to go to get your rake, you get the measuring tape out there, or at least walk in like an expert. Dave told me on TV I needed a rake with a 30-inch spread. So, why not, though? It'll make your job a lot easier. And they also say they make these no-clog rakes. Have you seen that? I mean, I haven't bought a rake in the last couple of years, but a no-clog rake, really good idea. Now, what I used to like to do, many of you probably do, just go cut the grass. Cut the grass, you get a mulching lawnmower, that'll work pretty good. But it gets a lot harder if you got a lot of leaves in the yard, and they don't advise you to do that. The ultimate way to make it a lot easier and get it done quick is to get that leaf blower out. And if you are really spoiled and you got one of those really beautiful attachments on your lawnmower, the leaf vacuum, you are going to be the envy of your neighborhood. You get out there with a leaf vacuum and it puts all the leaves in a bag. You put it right down there for pickup, and that makes life a whole lot easier. Good luck. Enjoy. Don't forget to let the kids jump into the big old pile of leaves every once in a while and have some fun. A lot of things going on this weekend in the greater West Bloomfield area. In fact, it's a really big week and weekend for those of you that like to read books. The West Bloomfield Library used book sale is scheduled for this weekend. The Friends of the West Bloomfield Township Library will hold their fall used book sale on Friday, November 4th to Sunday, November 5th. Sales being held in the meeting room of the library at 4600 Walnut Lake Road, of course, in the Civic Center complex. The Just for Friends preview sales Friday evening. That's when you want to get in there from 7 to 9. You got to, I don't know, do you need a special pass or something? We'll find out. All books and media are half price during Friday's preview for Friends members. Non-members who wish to come to the preview may join at the door, so you can become a friend of the library, and it's only $10, $15 for the family, and then you can get on a really good deal. Book sale continues, though, over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, 9 to 5. Sunday, from noon to 3. And Sunday is $5 bag day. So all the things that haven't been picked up, get a good value on the back end, too. Don't forget, the 71st Annual Detroit Jewish Book Fair, speaking of books, is going on at the Jewish Community Center of Metropolitan Detroit in West Bloomfield. And this has been going on forever. It's a great event. They always bring in some amazing speakers. Check their calendar online. Take a look at it. It's a fantastic event. The Detroit Jewish Book Fair. A lot of events, and it's going on all week long with speakers, information, and an opportunity to celebrate our amazing authors in this country. Don't forget that Election Day is right around the corner. And we just want to remind you the 2022 general election is in progress, really. Hours for absentee balloting. You can see that Thursday, there are extended hours from 8 until 7. Saturday, extended hours from 8 until 4 to drop your ballot off. A lot of people want to do that. There's a drop box open 24/7, and we're going to get all the details on this in a couple of minutes when we have an opportunity to talk to West Bloomfield Township Clerk, very busy this week, Debbie Binder, but she'll be joining us in just a minute, and we'll get all of the details, drop box, absentee ballots, and what it's going to be like on Election Day, where you can get all the information. So that coming up. Before we go to break, one other thing I want to note, obviously it was a sad day for the West Bloomfield Laker high school football team as the Lakers lost on Friday night to a team from Cass Tech that was absolutely amazing. Lakers might have had a better chance to make their way through the playoffs if they faced such a formidable foe later in the tournament. Lakers had a couple of injuries to deal with, and it was a tough night overall for West Bloomfield. What a great season the Lakers had. Very impressive. Lots of players moving on to continue their collegiate football career at our leading institutions here in the state of Michigan and around the country. And Tyler and I will have an opportunity when we have more time to do a more appropriate follow-up and a salute and thank you. But I just want to thank everyone associated with the football team and thank you. My goodness, Friday night, even when we only had the audio, we didn't have TV, even when we only had the audio, we had our biggest audience of the year. Thousands of people, I think it was like 4,000 people tuned in on YouTube alone. And I know they limited the tickets. There were only so many tickets. It seemed jammed on site. But I hope you enjoyed following the Lakers as much as we did, and we look forward to another really exciting season. By the way, I just want to put a picture up, if the guys have it, of the Laker sailing team. There they are. The West Bloomfield Lakers sailing team had a really good run, and I just think it's so cool that there actually is a sailing team here in the state of Michigan. They made it to the state semifinals, had a great run, and there they are, your West Bloomfield Lakers on the lake. It's not just football. We have so many great athletic programs in our school. And we don't just love West Bloomfield on this show. Hey, we support Walled Lake, Bloomfield Hills, Pontiac, all the districts that make up our fine four communities that we service here in the Splash: Orchard Lake, West Bloomfield, Sylvan Lake, and Keego Harbor. And a big thanks to all the parents and all the students who work so hard to bring athletics into our community and make it part of your life. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a moment. Debbie Binder joins us, probably the busiest person in the township this week with the election right around the corner. We'll talk to our township clerk in just a moment. I'm Dave Scott. Good morning. Happy Monday. You're watching The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu.
This November, honor the many people who offer their lives for our freedom at the 2022 Heroes Appreciation Breakfast. Organizations, charities, and local residents are invited to celebrate the men and women that ensure our safety and security. Hear from guest speakers, live performances, and presentations from veterans, officers, and more. Save the date, November 8th, from 9 to 10:30 p.m. at the new West Bloomfield Middle School. Call 248-451-1900 to register.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live on this cloudy, kind of rainy Monday morning here in Greater West Bloomfield. I'm Dave Scott. Tyler Keith standing by. The Oakland County Megacast is coming up in just a couple of minutes. He'll take a wider look, expand the geography a little bit, and talk about issues that are important to us here in West Bloomfield, but around the region as well. Certainly one of the busiest people anywhere right now in our community has to be our township clerk, Debbie Binder, but she was kind enough to take a minute or two to join us here on the Splash Live. Ms. Binder, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Dave. Always good to see you.
Good to see you, even if it's virtual. Thank you very much for joining us. So we see reports and hear reports from around the country that the turnout with the absentee votes and the people that are voting before Election Day seems to be pretty big.
For us, it's been a little bit slower coming in, but it's starting to pick up rapidly. So we do have quite a few absentee ballots out. We're waiting for them to come in. Right now, if you looked at what is in, we have about a 20% turnout for this election. We anticipate having close to a 70% turnout for this election. So there are many additional absentee ballots forthcoming. We are still getting people at the window requesting them. People can request their absentee ballot up to 4 p.m. the Monday before the election. And that is a hard stop at 4 p.m. that Monday before the election.
You know, I was wondering about that because if you've been sitting on the sidelines and you weren't really thinking about it, and who can blame anybody? It's a very busy time for all of us, and you want to absentee vote, and you haven't thought about it. It's still okay. You're still within the time window to stop down and get a ballot.
You are just fine. Like I said, until 4 p.m. hard stop and the Monday before the election, November 7th. But we are open. It's good to know we are open on Saturday, November 5th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So people can stop by and get an absentee ballot on that Saturday. And we do have extended hours. I believe it's this Thursday until 7 p.m. as well. We're trying to make it as easy for people who do have busy schedules, including us, to be able to get in here and request an absentee ballot if that's the way that they choose to vote.
All right. Well, more people seem to be voting that way. West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder joining us this morning. So you could theoretically come down, get your absentee ballot, maybe sit down at a table, fill it out, and then just leave it right there. Is that okay? Or do you really want people to take it home, fill it out, and then bring it back?
No, they're welcome to do whatever they wish. We have voting booths available. We have League of Women Voters guides if they're interested in that. And they're welcome to come in, sit down at one of the voting booths and vote their ballot here, turn it in, or take it with them. One important note is the Monday before the election, that November 7th, if they do request an absentee ballot, they do have to vote it here at Town Hall. They cannot take it with them. One important thing, Dave, we are really encouraging people to return those absentee ballots directly to Town Hall or to the drop box where feasible. That drop box is checked daily, including weekends and multiple times a day in most cases. But the mail has been wonky, and we're really encouraging people who have the option to bring it back to Town Hall.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that. To say the mail is wonky, with all due respect to my friends at the USPS, is an understatement. It's just been running slow, like everything else has, and just the sign of the times. So, no, I think it's a really good idea because if the mail gets to you, what's a deadline for that mail hitting your desk and the postage stamp it needs to have on it?
It has to be received in the clerk's office by 8 p.m. on election eve. That is the deadline. So if your ballot is not here by 8 p.m., now we do have a drop box that's open. And if somebody is in line at 8 p.m. to place that ballot in the drop box, that ballot will count. And we will have people out there handing the last person in line at 8 p.m. an application or a piece of paper so we know they were here at 8 p.m. And if they have that piece of paper, they will get to place their ballot in the drop box as long as they were in line by 8 p.m.
All right, so let's talk about exactly where that drop box is, and it's got to be. I haven't used it, but I assume it's at the township complex.
So we actually have two. There's one on the west side of the building and one on the east side of the building. We are encouraging people to use the one on the west side of the building between the town hall and the library, just because it's a larger drop box. That's the only reason. If you do place your ballot in the one on the east side of the building, we will get that as well. You'll see plenty of signs trying to rehabituate voters to bring it to the west side. But don't worry if you put it in the east side drop box. It will get to the clerk's office, and it will be checked also at 8 p.m. on election evening.
So you mentioned earlier 70% likely voter turnout for this midterm. Sounds like a big number for a midterm election.
West Bloomfield has engaged voters in high voter turnout. We always have had that kind of response. In November of 2018, we saw a 66% turnout, and our typical presidential turnout is 75%. In November of 20, we saw a 79% turnout within the township. So I do anticipate that based on that 66% in November of 18, that also brought Proposal 3 of 2018 that gave people the right to vote by absentee ballot. I anticipate we're going to see a higher than that turnout for this election. That's why I'm predicting between 68 and 73% turnout we'll see for this one.
That's a pretty narrow window. You've got your numbers down and you really understand this process. Debbie Binder, West Bloomfield Township Clerk. So let's talk about people that want to vote on Election Day. With all these people voting absentee, will that shorten the lines if I decide to go to my local polling place?
I think the lines are going to be, I think we will have a lot of people voting in the precinct. I think when we look at that, I'm anticipating between 700 and 1,100 people in each precinct. So what I would say to people is bring your patience. I would say go early, but everybody goes early. So that might be not the time to go. You may have the least lines if you go around 10 or 11 in the morning or later in the afternoon. That may be your quieter time to vote, where that lunch period and after work and before work are definitely going to be busy. I do think even if we see those absentee ballots come in, we're looking at a large turnout in the polls as well.
So let's talk about the process a little bit. It's so good that we have you here because we can understand how it works. Certainly, there's been a lot of curiosity in our country about when the absentee ballots are counted. How does it work in West Bloomfield? About how long does it take you to get those counted, and when do you count them?
Okay, so the difference between absentee voting and early voting is that those absentee ballots are not counted until election day. So they are not opened until 7 a.m. unless you're one of the communities participating in pre-processing that will now have the 2 days before to open the ballots and confirm that the stub number matches the stub number outside. The ballots themselves are not pulled out of the secrecy sleeve, and they are not tabulated until election day. Now, West Bloomfield is going to be partnering with Oakland County to conduct our absent voter counting board, which is an opportunity that was provided by Proposal 3 of 2018. The concept is not new. 42 out of 50 states process their ballots at the county level. We are what's called a decentralized state, of which there are 8, like Michigan, who process their ballots run an election, actually administer an election with the local units. So it's a different scenario, but the majority of the states do run them at the county level. So the other thing that's very typical in most of our communities that don't convene their own absent voter counting board is those ballots that come in, the absentee ballots that come in will be processed in the precincts on election day. So all of our ballots that come in before 4 p.m. the Monday before the election will be processed with the absent voter counting board. That is a West Bloomfield counting board out at Oakland County Community College, Highland Lakes. And our ballots will be picked up by a deputized facilities person from Oakland County, followed by a sheriff's deputy. And the sheriff's deputy will be on site at the counting location that night, overnight, till the counting begins Tuesday morning.
What great information. We like to know the details because it reassures us that this process is as trustworthy as it actually can be. And I know it is, but people, they don't know the details, and then they really wonder, well, how's it all going to work? And there are a lot of states, Michigan not one of them, where they wait until all the polls have closed to count all of their absentee and pre-voting ballots, and it seems like can take days. That's not the case here in West Bloomfield and in Oakland County and at Michigan for the most part, right?
This arrangement with Oakland County will make sure that we get those ballots even, the results, I should say, the results even quicker. Yes, we do begin counting at 7 a.m. on election day, our absentees, but the county, because they're not taking absentee ballots on election day, they're able to begin processing first thing in the morning. And in August, they were complete by 8 p.m. And in our precincts, once we get those numbers from the precincts, we should be ready to go. This will allow us, because we are still intaking ballots on election day, but hopefully we are intaking fewer. That's why we're trying to get that word out to get your absentee ballot returned quicker. Every ballot that comes in, every absentee ballot has a process it goes through when it arrives at the clerk's office. It gets scanned into the qualified voter file, verified against the application, and the signature verified. So it's a time-taking process. In August of 20, we received 3,500 ballots on election day. It was an onerous task to get that completed. In November, with messaging, with all of your help and with the help of the Beacon, we were able to get that down to 1,500 that arrived on election day.
Right.
So all of those steps will help expedite the process.
Well, kind of you to extend your thanks. We owe it to the people of our community who are responsible. And, get out and take care of it as soon as you can. Why not make Debbie Binder's job easier? Debbie, thank you very much for your time today. We'll keep in touch. By the way, all the election results will have a link to them, but the county really does an amazing job getting those results up and publishing them community by community. So we'll check in and send people off to the website. I got 5 seconds. Anything else you want to add?
Don't delay. Return that absentee ballot today.
West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder doing a great job, and all of the election volunteers doing an amazing job as we come into this critical and obviously very busy election time. A lot of people casting their vote on the midterm. That's going to be it for me. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30. Tyler Keefe coming up next in the Megacast. Thanks for watching.